Okay. I think it says there's audio.
It's yeah.
I'm being told that we have audio.
Okay.
So as far as I know, we're good.
Yay! Hooray!
We have done
That's always
it.
the biggest obstacle to literally everything we do is fucking audio. I feel like every time we stream, there's always audio issues. So hooray! Yay! We're here!
Huzzah.
Huzzah! So yeah, we are here to learn to play this lovely game called Wildsea, which you know, if you can tell, we haven't streamed in a while as a group, and that's fine. But got to do brain stuff again. So, all right. First things first, you know, we should go around the room and introduce ourselves because that's what people do. Hi, I'm Vanessa. I will be the Firefly for this game. Allie.
Owl City starts playing. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Ellie Capone. Haven't been here in a hot second, but I've still been playing things. Don't worry. I'm gonna be playing a Mothrin Shankling hacker named Taza, maybe Taza. I'm still sussing it out. We're gonna find out, but this time I don't worry. I'm not gonna do a Matt Berry voice. It doesn't work for me. Okay.
I mean,
hey,
I thought
Jenna.
it worked great, but you know.
Jenna, who are you?
I'm Jenna. I also haven't streamed in a while, and I have like the opposite of Allie. I know my character's name, and that's a little bit more than that, but not really much more than that. So we're working on it.
You're doing
I
great.
do know I'm going to be playing Choya. She is a Ectus Steep, and I don't have the background, I guess it is. I don't remember it right now because my character sheet got erased and I have to start over. So that will be happening whenever it happens. And you should just be grateful for what you have. Okay, you're being greedy that you want all this information. It's just rude, honestly. And last and newest, Grace, who are you?
Hi, I'm Grace. I've never been here before, and this is my second time ever streaming on the internet. Also, I don't have social media, so don't go look for me. I don't exist.
I'm not real.
Because I'm so new, I over-prepared and have way too many notes on this character and probably won't use a fraction of anything that I've written down in my notebook. I am playing Reeve, an ironbound anchored tempest, simply because I can shoot lightning out of my fingers, and that seems like a really rad thing
to do. I mean, that is, I do love when you're reading through something and you come across one specific ability and you're like, okay, well, now I'm doing that.
That's my whole personality.
This is like all I want to do. Yeah, and so we are gonna learn how to play Wildsea.
Vanessa,
so the whole point
hold on. There's one more player at the table. I can't believe they didn't get the video invite. It's that's right, guys. It's you. We don't have stream loot cards ready just yet for this, but that means you can help us make them. So if you have any ideas as you're watching, go ahead, drop those ideas into chat, and then you can use the stream loot cards to influence the game. A lot like Pokemon cards, but instead of playing Diglett, you're gonna play Fuck Your Friends Over. It's gonna be great. We would get demonetized because I said that word too soon. It's fine. We're fine. We're doing great. Vanessa, go on ahead. I will mute myself.
We're doing great. No, you're fine. Because it's true. We eventually the goal of this is to learn how to play the game, which means that, as you probably have guessed, tonight we're not actually playing anything. We're talking about stuff. Because I know that my players have all, to varying degrees, looked at this book, and I have to a varying degree looked at this playbook, but I am still very, very new to this and don't really know what's going on. And so right now, currently, we're all just kind of figuring it out. So tonight is our chance to kind of figure out what we want this game to be. Because one of the cool things about Wildsea is that there is a lot of collaborative creation that goes into it. The game is built to be more like collaborative storytelling than like necessarily I was trying to explain this the last time I was streaming, and I was like, I don't really know how to explain it, because like all TTRPGs that are like kind of collaborative storytelling, but this one like specifically asks you to do that more than other TTRPGs. So I don't really know how to like explain that well. I don't know. But yeah, it's meant to be much more collaborative than, say, like a Dungeons and Dragons, where you kind of had one person who's the storyteller and then other people interact with that story. It's really meant to be more of like a, we're all telling a story here. And I, as the Firefly, I'm just kind of guiding things. Sort of. Much like now.
A little bit like the babysitter.
Kind of.
Yeah.
My job is to mostly on track. That never happens. It's fine.
Instead of cats, it's just spiders and mushrooms.
I'm herding spiders is what I'm doing. Oh my god. But yeah, with that, I think so the first thing that I wanted us to discuss is so the Wildsea, and this was actually really funny when I first read this, was I was like, oh, I guess I didn't realize that it was meant to be like a sea of trees. I don't know what I thought it was, but it wasn't that. And so I started reading it and I was like, oh, shit. So I think like it has a timeline and a description in the book, but like I want to ask what everybody imagined when they thought of this, because I personally have this kind of like very like viney kind of is what I imagined when I was
Tarzan sort of.
Yeah, right? Like those were the kind of vibes that I was getting, but I was wondering what everybody else's opinion on that was, because I'm wondering, as we sort of like world build, what our brains are seeing.
So from hearing about the game and from reading a teeny tiny bit, had this concept in my mind of almost like the jungle, like the forest under you is super thick and super dense and you're riding on top of it. So in my head, it was a forest to see, but like almost the way that like grass in Miyazaki movies, like kind of moves in the wind, but it's like hills and grass. So that's kind of what I was thinking, that it was like more of an ocean pirate ship, clear skies and seas with like little waves sort of thing.
Okay.
And the waves are just like dense, like super dense foliage. That's what I had in my head.
Okay.
But the concept art that I've seen of it is more like some of that, but mostly it's like in the treetops doing the Tarzan swing around thing. And also there's like villages and stuff that look like the frickin' Ewok thing from Star Wars, where there's like, brown house. And I'm super down for all of that too. I was thinking like where I had like open seas pirate in my head, and then the concept art and everything is much more like jungle treetop, can't touch the ground, but there's like houses and vines and stuff.
The ground is lava, but actually trees.
Well, more like it doesn't. I think the concept is you're so high up that the ground like basically doesn't exist for you, because the deeper in you go, there's like monsters and stuff. But apparently there are people that do delving, like you mostly stay up towards the top, but like the farther down you go, the more dangerous it is. But there are people that go down that dangerous. And part of me is like, if we ever wanted to do some sort of like one shot, side shot, backstory thing, like that could be a fun one time what's in the deep kind of deal. Um, or maybe the characters just end up there anywhere in the normal campaign. I don't know.
I mean,
I just
maybe.
don't know. Yeah, I think that Janet, absolutely. I will give the disclaimer that I did get spoilers because my introduction to this game was watching an Eric Frankhouse stream before I like knew Wildsea existed. So that was my intro, and y'all know like he thorough. But I definitely like when I think of the seas, it's very much, dystopian future, several thousand years. Humanity itself has kind of like started to crumble. So, everything's been reversed. So there's overgrowth probably like on top of established like cities. And then it just continued to kind of grow up and out. So that's part of why there are so many like horrors towards like the bottom. But yeah, very much like if you guys going back to Jenna's Ghibli analogy, which Chef's Kiss, absolutely. The
Spot
Totoro
on.
like wind. Yeah, absolutely see that. If you guys have seen Laputa, Castle in the Sky, like that's kind of how I see it, where like there are traces of civilization, but they're so like aged and covered over by things. So that might, I don't know, give like clues.
I'm super fine with that though. Honestly,
Yeah.
I feel like so in D&D it's like you don't end up playing a human because humans are kind of boring. Why be a human when you can have like wings or horns or whatever, but humans are very like common. And I love the idea of, since this is kind of our like palate cleanser, change of pace sort of thing, that we're like, okay, technically I guess you can be one of the last remnants of humans, but like there aren't, like this isn't just you yourself in the normal world and we're going to stick Ren Fair horns on you. Like this is a fully different thing. I am very ready for that, and I'm totally fine that none of us are playing like, oh yeah, I'll just be a human. Like, no, forget them. We don't need any more humans.
We are human. Why play human when you are human? But I think the waves across the treetops really brought it home for me in that description, because I was imagining like when they do the big flyers of the rainforest, but instead of the rainforest trees, they're the massive like canopied trees that we see. I think probably because we're based in the US, like I just imagine the giant forests from our areas, and so it's just you don't see the ground. If you're looking at it from the top, it's just a sea of shifting and moving and living and breathing green. And in the distance there are craters where this living thing can't grow, and civilization has like formed itself inside the crevices and cracks of wherever it can scratch out a living. And I think that that's really cool. I did read the book because I can't not read the book, and I really love the description of the explosion of it taking over. And I think when I sat with it, you're just like, oh, that's kind of what the world could end like. Instead of fire and ash and burn, it can be green and lush and living and just as dangerous. And that was really cool to think about.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it sounds like what we're kind of feeling is that it's like rather than like I said, what is sort of shown in the art, we're feeling more of like an open concept forest sea that's less like levels. I apologize, y'all. It's been a long day. That's totally good, more of a more of like an ocean where the trees all like it's moving and it's alive, but they're all sort of on the same level. And then there are like spots of like the taller trees. I guess what do they call them? The tall shanks. I was gonna say long shanks. It's not the same thing. And then like different, and we can decide on this as we go, but like, and then occasionally there's different, like a mountaintop or maybe like a really tall building even, that became a settlement, or what they call it something else. I can't remember, but okay. Okay. Okay.
I
Cool.
I also like definitely see it as like, we'll have to go into the trees at some point, like during like the ocean areas, so to say, where, it's going to be very much like we need to still like gather resources. We need to get things for repairs. Maybe there's something that fell in there that we need to get.
Mhm.
Like there are definitely going to be reasons for us to go in there without just going like from settlement to settlement.
Mhm.
Um, it's just
We
not
need
like the
stuff.
only place. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially, and I might be biased considering I am a hacker, and I definitely see my character as very much like a like kind of like a Pathfinder, like Wayfarer, kind of like I'm gonna go
Uh,
and cut myself out of this place. I don't know. That makes sense.
we gotta get out. No, absolutely. All right. Excellent. Okay.
Vanessa, do you want me to read the core concepts for a minute and give you a sec, or do you have like an agenda that you're ready to like pace out? I'm just over here like I can
No.
read excerpts as we go too, so that let me know
No.
what to
Yeah.
do.
Go
I've
ahead.
got
I
notes open.
literally, I literally just went into this thinking today we would talk about what our expectations are, thoughts about
Cool.
the game and what kind of game we want to play, and
Mhm.
just going through a little bit of the setting and what we think,
Use.
we want the setting to be, really.
Yeah. Cool. Well, the core concepts are the treetops are a sea made up, though made up of branches and leaves rather than water. The treetops still act as a traditional sea in many ways. There are waves formed by the natural contours of the canopies, ports built into what solid ground remains, and a vast number of ships, their hulls supported by branches. While it's possible to move through the canopy without a vessel of some kind, to do it for any length of time is a huge risk. Number two, land is scarce and valuable. Mountaintops and large chunks of earth or debris caught up in the canopy act as islands or archipelago. Oh my God, I can't
Archipelago.
Archipelago, yeah.
archipelago. Fiercely guarded by their inhabitants, the settlements built on these outcroppings of remaining land are constructed with safety in mind more than comfort, leading to ramshackle appearances and multiple layers of defense against the ever-threatening waves. Number three, plant growth is rampant. The plants of the sea grow at dramatically accelerated pace, but only when connected to the iron roots, which are the huge mile-high trees that act as the foundation for the canopy you'll sail. A cut branch will stay inert, but another will have grown in its place within hours. Though the upper limits of the sea may have settled, the topography is constantly changing. Every now and then, an unexpected spurt of growth claims a ship or colony. 4, open flames are forbidden. Almost all cultures have prohibitions against the use of fire while at sea, and for good reason. Flame burns hot and long on Wildsea wood and spreads at a terrifying pace. If a fire does not break out, even the most bitter, if a fire does break out, even the most bitter enemies will likely put their differences aside to fight together. 5, Crezerin corrupts on contact. So, secreted by some of the Wildsea's more dangerous vegetation, uh, Crezerin is a potent toxin. Brief contact does little more than sear skin, but long-term exposure warps both body and mind in terrifying ways. This, along with the threat of predators and falling, keeps most sailors on their ships during long voyages. Okay. Okay. Next one is the economy is barter based. We don't need to go into the details on that. And the last one is it's a weird, weird world. So it's designed to be low magic, high weirdness, world of unusual creatures, woken spirits, and unbelievable abilities. Most tangibly connected to the waves themselves, there's very little in the way of wands, spell books, or magical study. The practice of twisting the world in mysterious ways is referred to as archanautics, literally a delving into the unknown and uncanny.
I
All
like
right.
I'm done. I'm going to use the restroom now after that, but I will hear you all.
Okay, so the other thing that we want to keep in mind is that there are they do have a handful of terms that are important to the world building. There's the pre-verdant, which is before the Wildsea like went crazy. I think it's got 300 years ago, basically. The iron roots are those big trees that make up the like majority of the sea. The tall shank is those trees that are like even bigger than those, and they're huge and stick out above the Wildsea canopy. A spit is a temporary landmass resting on the surface of the canopy, impermanent but sturdy enough to colonize. And then there are islands, which are like actual like mountaintops, mesas, probably we can say old buildings too. Reefs, which are a collection of junk, usually mechanical in nature. They're hotspots for salvage operations, which is like a big deal in this game. Salvage is like a huge part of the game.
Gotta build your ship. Imagine that we found a game for Magpie collecting junk.
I know, right? Oh, surprise. A rift is a gaping hole in the sea that leads down into the darkened roots far below, which is not somewhere that most people go because it's scary down there. And then there's Krezerin, which is what she mentioned, which is this mutative chemical substance found all over the place that drives both the rampant growth of the Wildsea plants and the hyper accelerated evolution of the creatures. Interesting. Okay.
Say that last one again.
So the Krezerin, which is the stuff that can burn your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a mutative chemical substance found all across the Wildsea, particularly concentrated in leaves and tree sap. It is what drives both the rampant growth of Wildsea plants and the hyper-accelerated evolution of its creatures. So, yeah, so I guess that's how they're explaining the like moth and cactus and all of those kind of people, which I think is super cool. It's very exciting. Okay. And then, sorry, my computer I'm trying to read through go through the book, but it's like being weird and skipping pages and like won't let me scroll. Totally so good. I apologize.
Let me know if you want me to read the next part, which is the layers of the sea, which is pretty important, I think.
Yes, please.
You're totally good. I realized, I was like, after I said that, I was like, oh, you don't know what the next section is. Grace is holding up a picture. I love it. I'll also drop this on in to our Discord server.
There it is.
It's so pretty and so dangerous.
Right? Looking at this and I'm like, spring to fall to summer. Beautiful. Okay. So the top layer is going to be the skies. So that's a broad blue expanse above. The skies are home to insects, birds, occasional airship. Most that settle the skies base themselves on mesas, mountainsides, or floating cities. The next layer is going to be the thrash. So that's the topmost layer of the iron-rooted trees that make up the Wildsea. It's a place of life and trade, a forest canopy studded with mountaintops, reefs of wreckage, and ramshackle cities. What remains of civilization is mostly centered on these last spits of land, and ships sail the leafy skies surrounding them. Then we go a little deeper. We get to the tangle. So through the thrash is thick enough to sail. It's the tangle that most large ships rest their hulls on. I'm going to zoom in because I'm not wearing my glasses. It's where the branches of the sea begin to thickly intertwine. Insect and animal life thrives in half-dark heat, and it can be moved through in relative safely with enough preparation and skill. So it sounds like the thrash to tangle is kind of like the safer area, even though the tangle is a little bit more like dark. It's basically we go down into the tangle and hey, it's nighttime. That's where we're making camp. Then there's the sink. So that's where wrecks often lodge themselves. The largest creatures of the Wildsea rule, as thick as the tangle, but way more dangerous. It's named for the treacherous properties of the branches, whether through natural or unnatural means. Most vessels make their way down to the sink find it almost impossible to reclaim the surface. So that's the danger zone. And we've got the drown, which is the point of no return. It's where branches become thin and light dies. So this is going to be mostly trunks of the iron roots that loom in darkness, some hundreds of feet across. There are huge areas of the drown that have never seen the sun, and others where the gulf between iron root trunks defies mere distance. And the last one is the darkness under eaves. This is where the roots of the sea and the bones of the old world.
I love that it says the less said about this place, the better.
The better.
I was about to go and just be like, the less said about this place, the better. Yeah, bingo. Like, I feel like we need what's his name? What's that one guy in There Will Be Blood who always plays like a big mustached, like shady man?
Daniel Day
who knows everything. Thank you. You know exactly. Yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis. I feel like we need like a Daniel Day-Lewis plugin to read the italics on everything.
In his like evil man voice.
As we are calibrating what we want out of this game, I would like to make a formal request for Daniel Day-Lewis.
Lewis voice modulator.
I'm sure I can find a voice mod in my setup somewhere.
I bet that you probably can, which is hilarious and slightly horrifying, but you know what?
I'll be Daniel Day-Lewis for you, Allie.
Thank you, Grace. I appreciate you.
All right. And then so I guess the concept is that mostly we're going to be in the thrash and the tangle, and then if we decide to get into some like crazy shit, we'll be going further down. I was looking through in the Fireflies portion of the guide, and they have all kinds of fun like giant monsters that live underneath in the sink, and I was like, ooh, that might be fun later, but you know, it's fun.
Keep that in mind for shipbuilding. We need some weapons.
Which
Vanessa's gonna try
build our
kill
ship
us
today.
I was gonna save that for next time.
Okay.
Mostly because I want to take a closer look at it before we do that, but also B, knowing us, we're going to need the full hour and a half.
That's so fair. That's very fair.
Because I love you all, but none of us can stay on track, and we're going to get I know that we're all going to get really excited and start talking about different things, and like I think we're going to need the full hour and a half to actually like get everything done. So
that's so fair.
I love you all. So with that said, but yes, I do want to do that next time. I want to make sure that we get to that. And then there was another thing that we had to, well, I'll take another look. I have a list upstairs of the things that need to happen. But honestly, tonight is mostly vibes. As we, launch this weird and wonderful world. All right. So the next bit is, so they talk, and in the fucking book, they talk about the, the types of species that you can be. But I think the next important section is what makes a wild sailor. Because this is kind of the bit where they're like, okay, so this is like the goal of the game, right?
Yeah.
So
For 3 pirates.
For 3 pirates. Well, I guess when you do have your ship, there's going to be like a crew. That's what I was thinking about. We have to
build a crew.
So that is another thing we will do, but later. My hair is touching. Okay, so the goals of a wild spore scarf. I didn't read that before. Anyway, sorry.
Squirrel.
I just saw it and I was like, what?
Oh,
Okay, so crew and goals. So to explore. Some crews
And-
just sail to find out what's over the next wave. What's up?
cool. Real quick, Jenna, I don't know if you meant to go
I
on
did
solo
not mean to
cam.
do that.
Okay.
I meant to pull it off to the side, and then I was like, I'm literally
Okay.
just changing one thing. It can just stay like that for a second.
Okay, perfect. I didn't
Okay.
know if it was like a tech thing where it was like, guess what? Everything's a glitch now. And I was like, oh no.
No,
Okay.
if you're gonna change something on slobs, you need to like open up a separate editor in order to do it while you're live. And I forgot about that. So I was like, oh, I know that I'm a Spitborn now. I'll just add it on. And it looks exactly the same when you add the editor versus when you're changing to a new scene. And I was like, oh,
It's
well, whatever. I'm adding one word. They can wait.
okay, cool. Sorry. That's like
My
once I
face
saw
is
you
more
like
important than whatever
typing, I
you
kind
were
of like
saying.
yeah, once you started typing, I like put it together, but I had already like raised my hand and then I was like, I'll just say it.
No, you're good. You're good.
Love you.
It's all
Love
good.
you all.
All right. So okay. Crew and goals. So to explore people. So there's people who are literally just out there to like hang out on the waves and vibe. I think that's actually one of the like backgrounds that you can choose is literally people who are just like out on the waves to vibe all the time. They've never had a home in their lives. It's only the sea.
Their ships are pontoons specifically.
To salvage. So be it wrecks, reefs, or ruins, there's always something of value to be found. Salvagers seek to root out and utilize. Oh my god. Sorry, the scraps that others leave behind. I know. Sorry. Often delving deep beneath the thrash into eerie, long forgotten places to do so. To hunt. So sometimes beasts, sometimes bounties, sometimes stranger marks, but a hunter is a hunter. Because there's a lot of like weird shit out here. Not just like the trees are going crazy. There's like weird shit out in the Wildsea, which is super cool. To trade. So this is another thing that is really important as we're looking at the world and kind of world building. Is to remember that the whole economy basically relies on barter.
Mm-hmm.
And and so and a lot of the society, there's no like the society is very unstable, right? It's like one of the big plot points of the game. And so as we world build, we want to make sure that we're keeping that in mind, mostly because I think when you are dealing with, and I know that I'm super guilty of this, is that when you're dealing with societies that are very different from the one you live in, it can be really easy to just fall back into the comfy spot of, oh yeah, it's just whatever. There's like, you can just trade gold for it. But, and I only bring it up because I have a tendency to do this as a GM a lot of the time, where it's like, I'm just not really like thinking about it. And of course my brain defaults to like what I know, and that's my default setting. And so it's like, no, this world is weird and different. And like it's collapsed. There's like there are major cities, but it's all kind of like very
together.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll want to make sure that we're keeping that in mind as we kind of figure out characters and crews and civilizations and all of that. Because yeah, I think one of the goals that I have is for all of us is to create at least like a handful of places together. And separately, probably, depending on how character creation goes, just to figure out, what this world looks like.
I'd love it if it was the Dwight Schrute economy, where you just create
Sorry.
something in to get the next thing, to get the next thing. The currency is beats.
Bears.
I didn't watch The Office. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It was a prerequisite for me to get married. I'd watched the entire catalog of The Office.
Oh my god! Like the British version too, or just the American version?
Just the American version. Only
okay.
know too much about The Office than I would like.
I want to make sure you understand this was not voluntary. No.
This is voluntary.
I was being held hostage. No. Okay. Okay, and then so another goal or reason for people to do the wild sail is to adventure, and then to escape is the last reason that's given. So it's interesting. I feel like, and it might just be because I haven't quite read through it, it seems like there is like a 50-50 on people in this world, where it's like half the people spend most of their time out on the sea, and then half the people do not and don't want to and have no desire to and only do it out of necessity.
I mean, that if you think about like island nations and anybody that lives, I live right by a beach, right? I would spend my whole life on the beach. I love that. I'm not going out on boats all the time. I'm not going on cruises. I don't do that, but I'm on the beach constantly. And there are people that live in like Hawaii or you know, whatever, that also don't have boats. They just live there. Or you could be Moana and be like, we were voyagers, and like go for it.
Get me out of here.
So I feel like that's
Yeah.
I feel like that's reasonable.
And
I'm like over here,
world...
like opposite. You go first.
Okay. It's like if the world is constantly changing, like the growth is constantly growing or expanding, or like if I imagine that your generational turnover of stability is so short. So if you're prone to like not liking change, you're gonna like latch onto a location like a lich on a rock and just try to eke out the best experience that you can.
Yeah.
And I just imagine that the generations aren't clustered together like they are in the worlds that we're familiar with. So it's gotta be insane that these places are both fixed and transient at the same time.
And then Allie, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, see, I'm the opposite, where I grew up in the forest and the woods, and that's probably why I will never ever step foot on a cruise ship. It wasn't important.
I can't get on a cruise ship because I watched Titanic.
Everything is important. I
That'll
prefer
do
not
it.
to be on cruise ships because they're little incubators for disease. And every time I've ever been on one, which is twice, I've gotten very, very sick. And so now I'm just like, I don't really want to do that anymore.
Thank you.
I used to love, I've been on a couple cruises in my life, and I used to really enjoy the idea of it. But now when I hear about cruises, all I can think about is the articles from 2020 with people being trapped on cruise ships with COVID and not being able to like go back to port or anything. And
yeah,
like I just
you live here now. You live on this boat.
Yeah.
Nope. People try to be like, no, you don't understand. Like cruise boats, though, they're so big. It's just like you're in a city. And I'm like, can't see land, don't want to do it.
I don't like people that much to be jammed in a boat.
Yeah.
If we really want to get down to it.
No. And like statistically, somebody's going to be sick and it will travel. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No. I don't want it.
I have a 4-year-old. I know how that works.
Yeah.
A pirate ship, though, with a limited crew, I would be seasick. No, I couldn't do it. Guys.
I came from the Chesapeake, and we always used to go out on the wind-powered boats, and they are my favorite. I love those small size vessels. So like the idea of like being on one of those all the time, sign me up.
Yeah.
Big boat.
Oh, that's so funny. I also love a small sailboat. They make me very, very happy, and I enjoy that quite a bit. But giant cruise ships, yeah, they freak me the fuck out now. I can't.
Dude, even a tiny boat.
This is actually also an interesting point that we have sort of brought up, which is that I feel like I apologize. I'm I think I'm moving around a lot in my frame. I apologize for that. But what kind of, so Grace, you brought up a good point about like generationally. So we're looking at a bunch of different kinds of creatures here. I mean, and I guess if we're thinking about it, it's like, what do we think that the like structure of society really is now with this sort of ever-changing, ever-shifting world? Because like we're already looking at a society that is very diverse, and cultures that are very diverse. But like, if people can't really like, if people aren't settling down with their families because they can't really, do we think that like families are riding on the waves together? Do we think that like people would have crews that have like brothers, sisters, siblings, children, parents, whatever? Do we think that's like a normal thing? Do we think that like people who people, I say people, but you know, who have like
People are
families, yeah.
Units of
Yeah,
creatures.
you know, living things that have families are like staying on these like trying to stay on these land masses more. Like, how do we what do we feel about that?
I feel like I'm really colored by this question because I watched the playtest of run by the creator.
Mhm.
And what I found most fascinating listening to that playtest was they in their world had established families of prominent hunters. So the idea that
Oh,
these types of like specific ways of surviving by not the way that we would typically think about businesses generating funds and like sustaining families and
Mhm.
mining towns and things like that. And that like instead of location, you've built an enterprise based on your skills and you
Mhm.
are like the biggest driver. And I thought that was fascinating. Then having like a dynasty of like competing families, like truly like to and I thought like of course there would be something like that out there, right? We don't. I don't think society to ever loses its like I want to be on the top mentality. Even in the midst of dystopia, there's always going to be a struggle for power, and that was one of the things where I was like, how does power play into this world when it's simply
Mhm.
survival all the time? So when I heard that, I thought, oh, that's really fascinating, and I wondered what we were going to
yeah.
do to explore in our world with that
I
dynamic.
mean, my first thought that comes up with power dynamics in this sort of setting is more of that like Mad Maxian. Like I'm sure that each like civilization um or outcropping definitely has like somebody who has taken power based on like the resources that they hold and have been able to kind of like use that to gain more, power, control, whatever you want to call it, over particular areas. Some of them may be very benevolent, very giving, very like good people. Some of them may be corrupt and only in it to be able to basically use other people who need the things that they have uh and like leverage that. So I mean that's my first thought. But
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be that could be a fun thing for us to do too, is create some, so like maybe a handful of, like they're not called cities. What are they called?
It's
I want to say
Islands?
outpost, but
Ugh,
Oh, I
settlements.
wrote that down. Reaches.
there you go. That I do not know why my computer is being so weird right now. So I'm so
No,
sorry. I keep trying to
Okay,
go.
I
I'm
have
like
you.
the
trying to,
book.
yeah, scroll through the book, and it's like not letting me. It
well,
keeps
while you're
skipping pages, and
scrolling,
I'm very confused.
I'll give my answer,
Yeah.
which I feel like we've well established that I have consumed very different media than Grace and Allie. Like I'm not really a webtoons girly. I'm not really an anime girly. Like there's some overlap, but all that overlap honestly is like where things get so popular, but that you can't help but know about it. Like, of course, I watched Sailor Moon growing up. Everybody did.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
But that sort of touchstone is not like you guys earlier before the show, you guys are talking about animes and stuff that I've like never heard of. I don't even know if anime is plural without an S. I don't know.
I'm a new anime girly, so it's a-okay.
Like, which is totally fine, but I grew up on like American comics, but I also grew up on like the Sci-Fi Channel when it was weird stuff. Like I grew up on weird stuff, and especially my grandfather was into that like old like 70s and 80s animated fantasy film kind of stuff. Like that was my bread and butter. So when you say like what does the society look like, because it doesn't look like ours, the first thing that comes to mind for me is actually there's a movie that came out in like 2002. It's called The Time Machine, and basically in the movie, this guy tries to go back in time and ends up going way, way, way forward in time. And humanity has split into like two separate, like one of them are monsters and one of them are still people, whatever. I'm not even going to say it's a good movie, but the people that are people have carved out an entire side of a cliffside into their society is like on the side of a cliff. So all their huts look like wooden and like tree house style places with like, you know, woven branches and stuff like that, but it's like carved into the stone on the side. So my first thought of like, okay, well, how do you even live in a society together when everything's growing apart, growing together, whatever, is like find one of those really big trees and carve like a beetle in through the center and have like almost insect hives through the middle of this one tree, because no matter what the other trees do around you, your city's going to be fine. You can get taller or go left, but you'll still be with your parents. And then I also kind of had the idea that the spits, like the little, I'm Spitborn, for example, like the little bits of rock and island and whatever, probably have, those people are probably a little bit more like sequestered. Like it would probably be easier to find a spit that has like a couple ectus on it and they've just been there and haven't seen anybody else. Or like, especially from the races that can kind of like propagate, I guess, on their own. Like if you cut a bit off a cactus, you can propagate another cactus. If you have a hive of spiders, you can then have two hives of, you know, something like that, where it was like one person at one point decades and decades ago was like stranded here, and now there's a teeny tiny society that's like never seen anybody else. Like that part seems kind of reasonable to me, but I think as far as everybody else, it's just like cities are just like every once in a while, whenever you find one of these big like tall shank trees, you're like, that's probably civilization is probably somewhere around there. And
that sounds right.
in my head, so I'm thinking about what it looks like in terms of like carving and burrowing in, and sort of like the maybe a little bit like how things look on the inside of the magic tree in like Fern Gully and Fern Gully 2, but also a little bit like what the podlings are like in the Dark Crystal, where they're kind of in almost like a hobbit hole, like a little, like it just kind of looks like a lump from the outside, and on the inside they're like singing and dancing and carrying on sort of deal. Like everything is just about survival, but like everything's about survival in real life too. And we still have Ren Fair and games and mead and Diet Coke and whatever. Like so I think that probably looks different for different people, but I feel like going into a densely populated tree area, there's still going to be revelry and fun and dancing and theater and trinket trade and like I guess what I'm getting around to, because I'm a verbal processor, what I'm trying to say is I'm not interested in a grim, dark dystopian fantasy where it's like, okay, everything sucks and nothing you do is going to matter and it's going to suck no matter what. It's like, okay, thank you. I pay taxes in real life. I would like to play something else. Is what I realized that I was trying to say.
I mean,
No,
like,
it's
so
good.
I absolutely agree with that. And honestly, I feel like entertainment and revelry is two sides of the same coin with survival, because there is what you have to do to survive for physical health, but there's also, like we all learned during COVID, what you do to survive for your mental health, which for
And like what you're even
all of
surviving
us is
for.
like making this channel, which is revelry at its best. Uh
But I think it's also really good that you state that, because I'm the
yeah.
flip side of your coin. I am always dark. I am always tragic and dystopian, and I think I like it when there's balance, because I like to be humorous and I like to be playful and I like to be silly. But I won't naturally be in that world. And so it's so nice to have somebody go like, "Hey, you kind of have to live. You just live. just you have to live." And I think it's important that Ted Lasso reminds us to do that.
Oh my God, Ted Lasso. Okay.
Why is that name familiar? Who is that?
It is
Uh,
a wonderful, wonderful TV show on Apple TV about Jason Sudeikis going to the UK because he used to be a football coach in the US and now he's going to be a British football coach in the UK. And it
Even though
makes
those are
you
different sports?
feel things. It's soccer in the UK. It's American football versus soccer, basically. Jenna, I think you would love it.
it's
It's
so positive.
delightful.
It is incredibly positive. Every time I ever see clips from it, it's always just like the nicest shit ever.
It makes your
It makes
brain
me
full of dopamine and serotonin, and
I do
they
like
also
positive
tackle like
things.
they tackle some real world issues, but also it's very sweet and humorous. So anyways, I'm gonna use
also
that
positive
lasso to rein us back
masculinity.
in and pass it over to Vanessa. Because
Um,
we could go on a
well,
tangent with
okay.
this.
I think that actually, so I think that to be fair, Jenna, it is really good that you brought that up, because I do think that, especially because this world and this game have a lot of themes of like, survival and this like world being very difficult, that we do need to make sure that we're keeping the whimsy alive, because like that's part of the point. Um, and it's true. I mean, I think that like, one of the things that is so great about TTRPGs in general is that it's like, well, I can't, go and point a sword at my problems here, but I can do it in this game. And in this game, I can hit my problems with a sword. But also remembering that like part of the game and life in general is that we should be doing the whimsical things too, the fun stuff.
Yes.
You know what would be really fun though too is that if okay, I have a homework assignment.
Oh boy.
Which is it's barely, I mean, it's probably something that people would do anyway, but it's something that I want to specifically say, which is that obviously, as you're thinking of your backstory, consider where your character would be from. Would they be from one of these, major city areas? Would they be from like obviously sometimes that's going to be kind of built into what you have chosen, but sometimes it's not necessarily. So think about that. But then also, I want everyone to come up with a like thing that their person celebrates. It doesn't even have to be like a holiday or a birthday or anything like that. It could literally just be like, whenever we find a something like, or whenever we see a whale, or obviously that's not going to be it, but like something like that, right, where it doesn't have to be something that happens every year. It doesn't have to be a holiday. It can literally just be like a thing that you celebrate, finding something, seeing someone, just going somewhere, whatever.
I already
So
have
like
mine.
nice. I love that.
I'm typing mine in the group chat right now.
Nice. I love this.
Do we wanna, like go around the room and share them when you're finished talking, or are we like? You said I'm typing mine in the group chat, but the last thing you said was quoting me about mead and Diet Coke. So I'm like, all right, well, Allie's Mothrin celebrates mead and Diet Coke. Let's go.
Also, yes, sure.
Aww.
Find a rusty can of
Aw.
Diet Coke, and she's like, nectar.
Wait, Mothrins are
Nectar.
flightless, but do you have wings though, right?
Yes, most are, but the wings are generally decorative. You have to take an additional slot to actually have use of your wings.
Whoa.
Interesting.
I mean, that does make sense though. If you're going to be big enough to be like person sized, your wings would have to be like
Huge.
unwieldy, huge, big.
Bingo.
Albatross
Bingo
big.
bongo.
Oh my god. Sorry, I was just imagining that like if Mothrin were flightless and then they had like I guess they would be like vestigial structures, really, the wings. That it would be very funny if while learning how to fly, the Mothrin was literally just like whacking into people all the time with their wings because they're never used to having them out. And now they have them out and they're constantly just smacking people in the face with them. Much like a woman that I saw at the Renaissance Festival yesterday, which was both hilarious. And I was like, girl, your costume is beautiful, but if you can't do that, then you can't wear them. I'm sorry. She hit like, they were huge and she hit like 3 people. And I was like,
those are for pictures. They're not for walking.
Exactly. It's like, if you can handle them and you can do that, great, awesome, good for you. But if you can't, you gotta stop. Because like this is not good for anybody. You're probably also very uncomfortable when you're like smacking people with these things that are on your back. Anyway, that's what made me think of it though, was I was like, oh, you know, it'd be so funny. It's like that girl yesterday with her big giant fairy wings and she kept running into people.
Except if they're a moth, then they're leaving like this powder. It's like
that's right, because they have the moths have the powder like on their wings.
People are just like sneezing or like coughing.
Well, that's the other thing, is you can be sneezing and coughing and you're having a bad time, but the powder is what helps them fly. So if you touch a moth's wings, it won't be able to fly anymore. So like making sure that your wings are not just around is like,
it's like,
you are muted, Allie.
What if a moth touches you with their wings?
Then you're moth touched.
You do what you want on purpose. That's like your own body, but you're sacrificing your ability to fly every time.
Is it like
that powder off?
Is it like fairy dust in this world though? Like, can you make other people fly if they think happy thoughts? If you smack them?
Oh yeah, maybe your wings don't actually have anything to do with the flight. Maybe it's like the Mothrin dust that is.
Yeah.
Somebody just really sad and you're like, I'm like,
and you just have to like learn how to channel it is really what it is.
Yeah.
But the wings are still vestigial. They don't actually do anything. They just look cool. That is
the headcanon for Tasia is that they don't even actually have wings. They're just so about the fashion that these are like created, like these are the Ren Fair wings, and it's like just it's for the look.
Yeah.
hide weapons in them. Question tactical.
I mean, honestly, knowing the base that we have laid out for Teza right now, that tracks. That totally tracks.
Okay. I support.
She unsheaths her beautiful wings and literally it's just knives.
Just knives.
Like a bunch of knives clatter to the ground. Sorry.
Or does it like wrap around you and make it like a cocoon and like things bounce off of you and you can't? Like,
maybe they're like the kind of wings that are like the like shawl scarf kind of thing, and you just like
I mean, that's kind of how I see it, honestly. It's just the like,
in your character art, the scarf, the overlay that your character is wearing is the same pattern as your, like, that is wings.
It is.
I just haven't sent you guys the like full like art that you can actually pixel peep on, but it is.
I love the term pixel peep.
Have you not heard that before?
No.
It's usually a techie word, like for people that do like device reviews on YouTube, but pixel peep.
Oh, okay, that makes
like
more sense.
Phone cameras or whatever, you're like zooming all the way in to see like, Yep, that's pixel peeping.
The more you know.
Mm-hmm. So is there something next on the agenda, or can we like get into our characters and what we know about
Yeah.
them and what we know about each other.
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
Vanessa's like, I don't have to talk through this part. I don't have a character.
This is great. Yeah.
I'll just take all the notes.
Oh yeah.
Perfection.
No, this is great.
I'll listen to y'all for a second. I do have to step away for a moment, but I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay, I can start because I wrote like 17 pages of notes on my character this morning.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. I'm so type A. It's painful half
No,
the
like
time.
that don't that was not like a, oh my gosh, you're ruining everything. That was like the ability to sit down and type 17 pages is so like
I definitely
girl
exaggerated.
boss.
I wrote 6. Okay, so I chose Ironbound, Anchored, Tempest. So Ironbound is essentially a living construct, and in this world, they are typically made from ship parts, iron, metal, but you can be made from golems and other natural. I chose iron, a typical sort of like robotic body, and anchored is essentially you've died and your spirit has been re-anchored to this plane of existence and you continue to exist though in spirit ghost, just a ghost, you're just a spooky ghost. And then tempest is the role in the ship is the harnessing of lightning and your ability to manipulate and navigate storms, and particularly I think have a better shot of communing with or dealing with living storms. And so when I pulled those 3 pieces together, I really started thinking, okay, well, what is interesting? And then I'm going to take a big swing and see if Vanessa will let me do it because it does break the game mechanics just a little bit. So technically anchored, you can die again, right? You're anchored by a specifically like a physical object. But I loved the idea of this character having lived so long, they've generated their own lore and have like created this name for themselves or been given this name called the Reaver. And the idea is that they've been hired on ship after ship after ship to help these ships get through these big storms. And it's either you get through the storm and it's like super successful, or you all die. Like there's no middle ground when the Reaver's on your ship. So like it's sort of a gamble. And the idea is that when they encounter a storm and they lose that battle, the Reaver's then snatched from the wreckage and like replaced into another construct and then has to live again. And these storms, or a storm, we don't know yet, won't let them move on. And so I was like, but it does break game mechanics just a little bit because technically they have to be anchored to a specific object. If we keep switching bodies, what is that object? So I loved the idea of just a character. I love building characters that I learn about the character as the character learns about itself. Because the idea is that you don't know its own history, you don't know who you are, and you have to like learn through it. But the idea that you have these many, many lives echoing somewhere in there was like, and I get to shoot lightning and go into storms.
No, I absolutely love that. I guess I don't think it's that game breaking. I know that it's not technically part of the mechanics of it, but the concept makes sense, right? It's like, and honestly, maybe there is something that your character is tied to and they just don't know it.
We just don't know what it is.
Yeah. So, I think that's fantastic. I love that.
Cool. Yeah. The notes were not wasted.
Do you have like a concept of your character's personality and how they might?
Yes.
I mean, okay, actually, hold on. One question for Vanessa here. Are we the only 3 crew on our ship, or are there other NPCs that we are?
So
if it's just us 3, I feel like our relationships with each other are going to be different than if we are just like, we are some people amongst 20 is very different than some people amongst 50 is very different than it's just the 3 of us.
Yes, I believe that when you build your ship, let me go back to this because I want to make sure I'm not putting my foot in my mouth. But I believe that when you build your ship, you can kind of decide that. But
just imagine it's Withers. Withers, can we have more crew, please?
You do normally have an undercrew
Okay, that's cool.
of at least a couple of people.
So I'm looking through it right now.
What if our undercrew is just like the Vegemals from Octonauts? Like just cute little guys, and they don't talk, but they just kind of like almost sing or like make noises, but they're just little guys. Like, what if we just have
They just run the ship.
or yeah, like they just so like the Vegemals or
Yeah.
like I mentioned the Podlings earlier. Podlings don't really talk either. Like, well, we just got little guys.
So there is an option to have what are called packs. Think of a pack as an extremely wild version of a gang, beasts or insects tamed and trained to work together for the benefit of the ship and its crew. Packs are less capable than gangs and more prone to unexpected behavior. A gang is another like set of people that you can have on your ship.
Right, sure.
So the option is for beast packs. So you can have rig ferrets, a brace of hounds, spring foxes. You could have a lemur pack.
Can we talk about the glow bug parade?
I
was gonna say, like, are there like beetles or?
Yes.
Oh yeah, the beetles eat the
Am I the
rust
only one
off
that
of
doesn't
it.
have the book open right now? But I've got 1,000 other things open. But like,
No.
Okay, so it sounds like, but it sounds like we're all like okay with this.
Yeah,
that instead of having other NPC crew that's like we have to care about like interpersonal bonds, it's like, you know, little guys. I feel like that sounds ideal for us.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Can we have
feel like
ferrets
if you
running
go
on a
with-
wheel,
Yes, please.
powering the ship?
I feel like we're all kind of leaning towards a smaller ship, at least to start with. We got to do One Piece rules, right? Oh no, don't you dare. Sorry. I hit my headphones and it started playing my voice message from Alice is missing. Cool.
That is not
don't do
this
that.
game.
No, it's not.
Very different.
So it looks like when you create your ship, the first thing is you look at the size, which is like how many crew and passengers. So I think we're all leaning towards maybe smaller and going with like the packs as opposed to traditional crew members and NPCs. Maybe like 1 or 2 NPCs there, but not like a huge one, so we can kind of get to know each other better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you guys wanted to do, or if y'all wanted to do like a gang and then some packs and just do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So have that as an option. And then y'all can just be the main crew of the ship, and that's fine. But it is honestly, this is entirely up to your discretion. I, as the Firefly, am not going to influence you either way. So if you want to go with something smaller, then that sounds great to me. I love that. I wouldn't be opposed to you having a pack or 2 of random animals on the ship, though. I will just put that out there. I would love for you to have lemurs or glow bugs or, library boatmen, spider-like creatures that have a habit of making their homes in discarded paper plucked from the waves. Okay.
So like
this.
we have a library.
Our engine,
but it's got spiders in it.
Yes.
Our engine can also be a tamed hive or a pulsing cocoon.
This is an option. Yes.
Or a rope golem, which could be cool.
Yes, I'm very excited. So definitely next week, not next week, sorry, in 2 weeks when we meet again, next session, shipbuilding is going to be the number of the day. Is going to be building out this ship, which is it's going to be very fun because it's like a process and it's very cool.
And we need a name.
So I'm very excited. You do need a name.
Ships needed.
So name a good name for your ship and a good name for the crew. But yes, that will definitely be.
What, you guys were joking about calling it the SS Waffle Bar?
Oh my gosh.
I forgot about that. Are there waffles in this world? I mean, yes, obviously, there's always waffles.
I just imagine that I'm the only source of electricity on this ship, and every time somebody wants waffles, I have to walk over and touch the waffle maker to turn it on. Just running the waffle maker.
You like go over and just like put your finger in the back of it, and you're like, "How long does this get to like? What are these like whole wheat waffles? It's taking forever."
We have to go and find another store, and we're running out of waffle juice.
Real quick, Jenna, what's your concept for your character?
Oh yeah. So Choya is well, she's a Spitborn Ectus Steep. So she comes from a little island that I think hers was probably all Ectus. Or at least mostly Ectus. And so a steep is like a brewer, basically. So she has she's just covered in loose leaf tea and like accoutrement in order to just make, like, she's got the little steep spoons and the cheesecloth and cups and stuff, like sort of all over. Like she just has all of the things all the time. Choya is basically going to be the healer of the group. And she does this. She's got a bunch of different things that she can do with teas, but in order to do any like healing and or restorative properties, apparently in this game there's a bunch of other stuff. It's not like just HP. There's like other things that can happen to you. So in order to restore in whatever way that looks like another character, she has to actually like pull off the flowers and the buds that are herself in order to brew that into the tea. And the only really backstory element here that I've got to work with is that her whole life she's kind of had to balance harming herself, keeping herself whole versus like helping the other people around her or letting them continue to suffer. And I think that when she was younger, there was a situation with a family member, maybe like her mom or somebody that she cared about, where she kind of chose wrong and didn't help them. And it turned out to be more serious than everybody thought. And now she's like, every time she has to make that choice feels like a life or death choice. And she is still kind of on the lighting herself on fire to hurt her friends path at the moment. And she's just a really big, tall, very nervous and second guessing herself all the time cactus. You can see in the character art she does not have like a face. She's just got like this big flower petal. So she just like how sunflowers are like just big over you. That's sort of what's going on here. She's just like the tall, lanky friend. I don't know exactly what kind of voice she's going to have right now, but I feel like she's the kind of character that doesn't talk as much. Like usually when I play a character who's like nervous, because that's how I am myself, I talk like stream of consciousness all the time. And I think with her, she's like afraid to say or do the wrong thing. So she maybe like doesn't speak as much. We'll see if that actually works that way because of who I am as a person. But like,
we're gonna try. Right.
I know. Try it.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I know, you asked for like a thing that they celebrate. So I think in my family culture, if somebody dies, you like celebrate their life we all drink cognac and we take turns like saying a thing about that person, like telling stories. That's something that we do in my family. And then anytime you drink something that person gave you, or you're using glasses that person gave you or whatever, like you tell the story of that person as part of your toast. That's just something that's always happened in my family. So I feel like having a very long, because cactuses live like dumb long, right? Like they get old.
Hundreds.
So I feel like when you have a very old cactus in a very old family of people that have lived a long time and known a lot of people, and you pair that with a steep, I think for her what happens is when you use ingredients or steep teas or supplies or whatever it is that are from a specific person, part of brewing that is like telling the story of that person or the story of how they got it for you or whatever is like a remembrance thing. I don't know that it would count as like it's not like a spell, like it's not magic, right? It's just like that's like that's what they celebrate is the history and the stories and people passed down.
Yeah.
In the supplies and the dried leaves from however long ago or whatever that have been given to you from someone else. So in the giving.
Feels very Viking
Yeah.
esque.
Yeah, I love it.
That storytelling, that celebration of life, that like capturing the core of who somebody is through who they are, and storytelling is really cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, thanks.
All right.
Well, next time you guys drink, you can tell the story of me telling you that.
Yes. All right, and last but not least, Allie, because we are running a little low on time, so I apologize, but
all good. So I think that Teza is very young and impressionable, definitely in her adventure era. Probably a little bit newer to like being out with like other people, but gets very excited very quick. She's Jim Hawkins. She's Jim Hawkins' Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet. Okay, I was just about to ask, like Muppet or Treasure Planet. Okay, I got you.
We're going Treasure Planet style, so maybe a little bit angsty, a little bit quick with emotions because she's still learning, but mostly like pretty optimistic and excitable, I think. But definitely has a lot of like worries and stuff like that, but she'll keep them all bottled up. Her celebration is going to be navigating tabs. Yeah, I the note I put is like whenever there's like any sort of gale of wind, considering that I think I already said this, Mothrans are not particularly like flight inclined. Whenever there's like a swell of wind of some sort, there's like this celebration of flight that kind of happens. Like it's seen as like a positive omen instead of like, oh no, the winds are rearing up. It's like a cause for, celebration and being excited about, freedom, liberation, like all that sort of like those feels.
All right. I love that.
Random Encounters Guild, thanks for the raid.
Hi guys.
I know we are also though unfortunately just wrapping up because I personally as the GM have requested that this stream go no later than 10 because I'm old.
That's fair. I have one last other thing.
Okay.
I would like as far as Stars and Wishes session 0, whatever, I would really like for our characters to be friends. That feels helpful to me. But I do love the idea. Some games start with like, maybe there's tension that happened when you first met, or maybe there's some like something under the surface that's still a problem or whatever. Like, I love the idea of us kind of figuring out maybe there's some drama, maybe there's some tension or whatever, but I want at least the baseline to be we like each other and want to be around each other, and we're not like, okay, it's going to be 3 of us on a ship and 2 of us are trying to kill each other all the time. Unless that's in a weird flirty hijinks kind of way, in which case that's fine. But like, but if you're like actively just like, I hate this person, I never want to let them talk, I want to stab them in the face, is like, we're not going to get anywhere. So I'd rather be friends.
Okay. I think that is totally fair, which is actually more fun, I think, too, because part of the character creation process can then also be, how do we know each other? How did we met? We're already buddies. How did we met? Those are words. Okay.
I would like to yes and on that request, being like, yes, and can we also have a crew member that maybe we all bully in the friendship way?
Oh, how fun would it be to have one crew member who is just like, they could just be the like, none of you are the chef, right? I forget what that particular
The cook?
is.
That's or a char. There are a couple options. No, I'm a steep. I did not take the cooking one
this time. I think it would be really funny to have them be the like chef on board, and like y'all are friends, but they really don't want to do anything except make food, and y'all are always making fun of their cooking, even though it's really, really good, because that's how you tell people you love them, is that you let them feed you, and that's all they want to do.
Like the Regency chef that takes care of the neglected children and then also kicks them out of their kitchen.
Yeah, pretty much.
But like, what if it's also like the one that we kind of bully is what is it called? Anchored? Is that what you are? So like they're anchored to something on the ship and they're kind of already dead and can't die, and it doesn't hurt them for us to be like, oh, you're annoying, and just like push you overboard, and then they come back. like in Moana when the water like keeps saving
Yes!
the chicken and
I
the
actually
coming down.
that.
Like that's where it's like
I
it's a lot of
absolutely
love.
love that.
We actually do want to protect the chicken, but like
yeah, but like also what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I want to say it's something like that where they're like, it's not actually harming them for us to be like, but we're also like,
yeah.
Okay,
I feel like we're gonna. I just realized I feel like we're gonna end up with like the K-pop demon hunters archetypes here, but it's gonna be great. We're gonna see how it goes.
seen that movie because I don't have Netflix.
I also have not seen it
you
because
my
I don't have
login.
Netflix, but
Only if I'm allowed to be Mira.
By many, many people that I will love it.
I did not hear anything illegal, but if someone did have a Netflix, if I paid for my own very own Netflix, then my husband and I would be interested in watching that movie because we've heard good things about it. And I have heard the soundtrack and it slaps.
Soundtrack slaps. Napalm era. I want that on a shirt.
Oh, absolutely. That being said, though, we are 5 minutes over, so yeah, back to you.
Because Mama's lady. Also, apparently now my brain just shuts off at 10 o'clock. So
well, then why don't you go to bed and we'll just stay here and keep talking about throwing ghost chickens off our ship, and we'll come up with names and stuff and be best friends on stream, and you can go to sleep.
All right, bye. No, I'm kidding. I love you all. Anyway, this has been our first Wildsea stream and our first stream group stream on the channel in a really long time. I'm really, really, really freaking excited about this. A, just because I miss streaming, but B, because I miss my friends, and this is excellent. So we are going to be doing this currently. Our plan is to do this every other week. And then we will evaluate and see if that is feasible, because part of the, being a person is that you don't want to burn yourself out, even doing things you love, because man, have we learned that lesson the hard way sometimes, that you can love something and still not do it because it's hard. So we're going to try to do this every other week. So our next session will be in 2 weeks on a day whose number I don't remember. I'm going to say
it's the 7th.
September 7th? The 7th of September. And then so then we'll be doing some shipbuilding. And as of right now, the plan is that for the next 2 streams, there's going to be all of us. So we'll do, the shipbuilding, we'll do some more character creation, world building, stuff like that. And then we'll move into some solo streams to do backstory stuff as that requires, and then we'll just kind of go from there, because again, we're learning, and so we're just going to kind of do it as it's the vibes. We're gonna vibes. It's all vibes, man. All vibes. And with that, I have been Vanessa, your lovely firefly for this evening. I am on social media. You can find me as Vanessa Bullitt, Bullit on. I almost forgot to do like the introduction, like, hey, you're a person, you have social media and things. On basically any platform you can think of. And so I that is where you can find me. And I'm just going to throw it over to Grace, because you're the first person whose face I saw. So who are you? Say goodbye.
I'm me. I'm Grace. I am not on social media, so if you'd like to get in touch with me, you have to go through my agent, Allie.
Wait, am I your agent or am I going next?
As of right now, I've just deputized you.
Cool.
So
Okay, excellent. Okay. You all can reach out to me. That is no longer my Etsy. I changed it. This is all very old, but you can reach out to me through my allieslawdesign.com website if you need to book Grace for anything. There is a contact sheet. That being said, I'm Allie Capone. I do some streaming here, some ceramics there. My full-time gig is graphic design for mostly music merchandise. So that's it. I don't think I have to. I'm so out of practice, you guys.
I know, same.
I've
So
never done
same.
it before.
So yeah, if
You're
you
gonna
are a band
yes.
and you need me to design custom bullshit, let me know. I got you. Jenna, over to you.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm also a designer. I keep saying every time I stream that I want to get back into the solo stream with Starforged, and life just is not letting me do that. And by life, I mean I'm potty training a 3-year-old, and apparently nothing else in the world is allowed to exist at the same time as that. So we're starting up this game. This is every other Sunday, and the off Sundays, you can find me on Random Encounters Guild, where I'm going to be playing Traveler. And I'm also on Random Encounters Guild for whatever other things I feel like at any given moment. And then other than that, yeah, I'm also a designer and illustrator. I did the art for this stream and most of our other streams, and I do a bunch of custom overlay stuff and game book design and whatever. So if you have a game or a show or both that you need custom stuff for, or if you want me to, as Allie says, make you some custom bullshit, then yeah, like hit me up. Or I guess hit up Allie, who's all of our agent now. You can go to my website, or hers apparently, and find
It's
things.
canon now.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Allie, have fun managing all of us. We love
Don't
you.
worry, nobody tries to contact me, so you will be fine.
I've had 2 contacts, and one of them was like, "You have a typo on your website." I'm like, "Why are you reading it? Go away."
I'll fix it if I order something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right? Like, you're not allowed to correct my spelling unless you buy stuff for me, okay, motherfucker? Leave me alone.
Congrats, you found the Easter egg. Here's 15% off your next order.
All right. And with that, we will say goodnight, and hopefully we will see you in 2 weeks. I am really going to be try to be here for Morning Initiative on Wednesday, but I am solo parenting again next week and this coming week, so we're gonna see. It's been a crazy summer around here, y'all. So hopefully I can make that happen, but we're gonna see. We're gonna try. But if not, then we'll see you in 2 weeks on Sunday. Hooray!
Okay, say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good time.
Whew.